Once again, welcome to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Latonia Francois. She is an entrepreneur with her business title, Let's Write Life. Latonia, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. Your mission title for your business have a significant meaning. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, then your business?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on this show. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. But yes, I'm the owner of Let's Write Life, and Let's Write Life is a company I started to empower women to know who they are through journaling, and rewrite the story of their lives in a sense. And so I get to do that through retreats, workshops, and programs that just lead women on that journey. And so that's where everything starts with me.
Well, that's really wonderful. I think the world can do with a whole lot more young women like yourself. Women had fought a long battle in getting equality in this country, especially globally, actually speaking, and to become a level where they can now be entrepreneurs, more self-independent and reliable on themselves, is a big statement. But what would you do at this juncture in encouraging more young women like yourself to understand the essentials of being self-reliable and independent, that they don't necessarily have to wait until someone come and give them something and they can actually do it on themselves?
Yeah, you actually bring up a really good point, especially with where we're at right now in the world. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a mom of 3 kids. And so I, even myself, am so grateful because of how empowering journaling is as a tool for self-help. Right now, there's a lot of pull on improving our mental health. And many times people don't actually know how to do that or how to practice self-care. So with journaling, it's a self-help tool that you can use on your own. It's free anytime that you need to express how you feel, de-stress, sort out your thoughts, and process and cope with all the things going on in your life. I mean, that's probably the best benefits about journaling. And so what I do is give women that space that they need to learn how to use journaling in a way that supports their self-care right where they are, on their own schedule, at their own pace.
Great, and I love the fact that you just mentioned mental health. Even as we speak, not just only here in the United States of America, but globally, especially in some third world countries, there are a lot of women who are mentally traumatized. They're playing the role as father and mother at the same time. They are the economists of their home. They have to work, make ends meet. They have to clothe their kids because their fathers ain't doing it. Life is a struggle, and it's a traumatic mental situation amongst them.
Yeah.
How, as an entrepreneur, would you advise a female that probably face of all these different entities in her life and have to battle every day, how she can best prep herself to focus despite of what's going on, that she can become a more success, but at least be comfortable in making a living for herself and her family?
Wow, you touched on a lot.
I know that's a big mouthful.
That's a big one.
But take your time and, and discuss what you can.
Yeah. And you know what? To be honest, it's something that I have wanted to address. So I studied abroad in South Africa, and I actually have a journal from my trip there. And when I was there, I got to see firsthand the struggles that a lot of women face outside of the US. And it's always just been a passion of mine to start to do work, not just in the US, but internationally as well, to just address some of those issues that are more pressing, because I know journaling is so powerful for improving your life, for giving you that outlet of hope and healing. And that's what journaling has been for me. So if I were to tell you how I started to really get into journaling, it was because I needed that hope and healing in my own life. I struggled with depression, and for many, many years, because of so many different things that became the triggers of that depression. And I found myself in a place where I lost connection with who I was. And when I think about these women who are wearing all these different hats and having to juggle so many roles to be everything to everybody else, where is that space? Where is that time? What is that thing that they are doing to refill and renourish themselves? There's the saying that goes, you can't pull from an empty cup, because if you can't help yourself, you won't be able to help others. You won't be able to be there for your family the way you have to. Or if you are, you're doing it from a drained point of view, almost on autopilot. So how can you refill? How can you renourish? And where do you find the time is what most women struggle with, because they are pulled in so many different directions. And so what I say to that is, with journaling, you have to just take 1 minute, 2 minutes to just prioritize yourself. Sometimes that's all you need. And maybe you're not necessarily journaling. Maybe it starts with I'm going to go in the bathroom. I have to do it. I'm a homeschooling parent. I run a business. I'm a wife. After school, I still have to be a mom. I am a daughter to aging parents. There's just so much. And no matter what your situation may be, maybe you're struggling, having a financial struggle. Maybe there's an illness in your family, or maybe you have an illness yourself. All of these things, I understand women are dealing with and going through. And I don't want to just single it to women. I just happen to work with women and focus on women because they're my passion. But just starting small, if you could, while you're in the bathroom, for those of you who have kids and you're not sure where to get the space for yourself, close your eyes and just say, this is my space. I'm just going to breathe through this moment right now. And maybe it's breathing. And then the next time I'm going to start to just release the pain, release the emotions that are making me feel stressed during that 1 minute of journaling. You start with the breathing, or if you feel like jumping right into opening your journal and writing, just start small. I just want to add another thing to that is, and I just kind of lost it, but start small. And then, the question I get a lot is, what do I write? So let's remember that. Yes. If you want to circle back to that later.
Sure, of course. Okay, right. I'm glad you touched on that part. And I just want to skip over women for 1 second. And if a woman doesn't have a supportive husband and she is going through all this chaos in her life, where she has kids, there's no man there to support, would there be a word, and I don't want to go on the woman's side now because I want to be grassroots in what I speak. We have still existing today a lot of good-for-nothing men who get females pregnant and run right off, never to return again, don't be a father in the kid's life. And it's really sad to be in the 21st century having men doing that. And it happens mostly in the third world countries. But yes, it happened here in the United States of America too. Would there be a word right now that you would want to say to men? It's about time to stand up and held accountable for their responsibility. Would you want to say anything to men that does those kind of things?
Oh, wow.
I don't want to put you on the spot because we still have to touch your what you write on and so forth.
Yeah. What I want to say to that, and the thing is, what men need is healing. They need love. They need healing. They need men, mentors. They need people in their life that can steer them in the right direction. I could tell them something right now, and that could be the thing for those who are open. It's hard to tell someone something that's not open because they won't receive it in the same way. So for those men who are maybe listening to this and you want to know, how can I become a better man? How could I be someone who can understand the importance of having a healthy relationship with a woman? When you think about men in our society, they've always been mistreated. They've always been disregarded, and they've always been expected to be something they may not know how to be because the man or father in their life was not that for them. And we just expect them to know what to do. But they're only doing what they may have been taught or what they've seen happen for centuries and decades. And so it takes one to, more is better, but it takes one individual person, one individual man to say to themselves, I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like these other men. And if that's you that is listening, get the help from somebody who is the example of who you want to be and begin to be vulnerable, which I know is difficult for many men to do. They're not taught to be vulnerable or to express how they feel. And that in itself is a whole process of breaking down those mental barriers. But the support is there if they're willing to begin that journey in a sense.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that subject. And for me, and my opinion is that mankind had fallen away so far from the teachings of God that he failed miserably in his household. And Christ said, as Christ the head of the church, so is the man the head of his household. And when man come to the juncture of his life where he failed his household and refused to build and leave a legacy for his heirs, for generations to come, the word of God declared that he's worse than an infidel. And this brings me to the point, because I grew up with a mom who was a single mom who had 6 kids. And the person who she gained, well, they were from 2 different fathers, who she had those kids from had departed. I mean, I'm not scared to say it. There were many days where we went starved because there was no money there to buy food for us. And I had always grown up with this sensitivity, knowing that women are the life bearers to the same very men. And they don't have enough common sense to recognize these are the people that replenishing the earth, and they deserve to be treated with the utmost respect. That is the thing that really irritates me a lot. And sometimes I believe it hurt God's heart to see how men turn away from their family. It's a serious thing. But nevertheless, I want to touch you. I want to go on your book that you're writing, what inspires you to write. You do a lot. I mean, I can't even begin to go over it. So you go ahead, proceed, and educate us.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely do a lot. Thankfully, I have an amazing team of awesome women who just help bring the mission forward, all of us together. And an amazing husband too. I cannot leave out my husband. He just has always been there. And so I have written 7 awesome empowerment journals for self-care to support any woman's mental health. And so on the flip side, as we talked about men for just a second, it's the same thing for women. How do they become the best of who they are? Plug in to communities that can support you. So for example, I have made myself available online. Like, I'm on Facebook. I'm mainly on Instagram. That's where you can actually talk and engage with me every single day. I have women connecting with me from Africa, from Australia, from London, from the Philippines, and we talk almost daily. So plug in. Social media has connected the world in ways that we didn't have years ago. Well, many years ago at this point. And I know in some of these areas of the world, maybe the internet is not something you have access to. So it just comes down to however you're receiving this message, grab a journal, pick it up. And I have written 7 journals at this point. My main journal that I use for my teaching to take women on the journey of not knowing anything about journaling to leaving, understanding who they are, and knowing how to use journaling to support with their emotions, what they're feeling, so that they never have to find themselves feeling hopeless again. I teach women how to do that using this particular journal right here, which is called the Best of Me Journal. And I use this as part of an 8-week program for women who really want to change their life and change where they stand in life and understand how they can move forward despite their challenges, because I myself was in that situation just 8 years ago, not knowing what to do, feeling hopeless, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like I didn't think my life was even worth living anymore because it was just too much. And now here I am today, totally transformed, and now using my life to just inspire other women to pick up something that we all can do at any moment, whether it's a paper or a journal or a notebook, whatever it is. You can start to use your own words as encouragement and hope. You can write your scriptures down, write your prayers. Sometimes you're not even journaling to yourself, you're journaling to God, saying, God, help me. What is the way I need to go? How can I move forward? Sometimes it's just that. And so whatever it is, I have 7 journals. So this is one. It's called Choose Happiness. This one is based off the first journal that I designed and wrote, and it shares a little bit of my story, but then the rest of the journal is blank pages just to inspire anyone who's writing how to continue to choose happiness every day, even if that's the one thing you can do for yourself. How am I going to choose happiness? I'm going to take that 1 minute in the bathroom, or I'm going to take that 1 minute walk, or just step away from everything to just focus on my needs, my hope, my healing, just to get through another day. And so there's this one that You're Worth Writing For. I have Spiral. I have this one is really about knowing your worth so that you can be all that you can be. Know the type of respect that you deserve. That's why I actually appreciate everything that you're saying when it comes to moms, especially single moms who have not been respected, and maybe they don't know their worth because no one tells them how much we appreciate them. And so I really appreciate like what you're sharing in regards to knowing a woman's worth. And my goal is to help that woman know her worth as well. And then this is the last journal. This one's more for those who maybe don't have words. It's hard for them to write, but they don't mind drawing. They maybe enjoy drawing and being more visual than writing. And so that's what this particular journal is. There's lines in there. as well as blank pages, so that there's both together. So yeah, all the journals are pretty unique. They all tell a different story depending on where each woman is in their life. And yeah, so yeah, I teach the workshops online, and then I do retreats in person. But even next month, as early as next month, I have a retreat happening online. So that way you can plug in through Zoom from wherever you are.
Okay. Well, at this juncture, I lose a little bit of my audio, so I was barely hearing what you were saying.
Oh.
But I can see that you have established a very solid foundation in educating women and building the self-confidence to be independent. My question is to you, with such a profound objective in mind, is there a strategic plan you put in place, or a business strategic plan you have in place, that I know technology is good and we can get things out like that. Is there another strategic plan you have in place that we can reach as many women as possible through your network, globally speaking, and at the said very time, a way in which you can capitalize financially on selling your publications in some form or the other?
Yeah, right now I'm already set up to do that. For example, the retreat that's coming up is an online retreat. So as long as you pay, you're in there. All the materials are either available for digital download or they can be mailed out to you. Of course, when you're outside of the US, it will take a longer time for materials to be mailed if that's the way to go, but everything is also digital as well. The journals are digital. You will not be able to write in them unless you print them out, but there's an electronic version to everything. And even if you're not able to attend the live events that I do, there are also pre-recorded online courses as well. And everything in those online courses are electronic. And so, yeah, everything is possible, okay? and even to the sense where I have organizations that license my program. So I don't necessarily have to be the one to teach the programs myself. Perhaps there's someone in another country who has resources, who have a means to host things in their own classrooms, in their own space. I have programs where they can purchase all the materials that they need and all the journals that are associated with that program to lead women through the program where they are. So the options are really limited. For any way I can bring journaling to the communities that most need them.
Well, one other question too I want to add here. I noticed you mentioned that you self-teach your kids at home. For a woman who are going through financial issues and have kids at home, but she sees a way where she can actually start a business like you. Now, the question comes now, if the mom is not as educated as you are or have some good level of literacy speaking, would it be advisable for that woman to try to self-teach those kids, or should, despite of what she is struggling with, have them go into school? Now, that is easy said, because if she's not physically equipped to do that, that may very well be an issue also. What level of advice would you want to give a mom like that?
So are you saying a mom that wants to be a business owner, is it best to send the children to school or to teach them at home?
No, I'm saying, like, if, for example, if a mom wants to homeschool her kids, that mom should still have some high level of education or a good basic level of education that she can move her kid through the embryonic stages to a certain level where that child can say, well, you know what, mom, I'm going to try my best to go on to high school or whatever the case may be. But should the mom have some level of education to do that? Because we have a lot of teenage moms who doesn't have anything, and their parents say, well, you know what, get out my house. You should be in school learning, you should have kids. And they are now faced with a bigger issue. Maybe they give it a child for foster parents or adoption or something. But if that mom loves her kid, should she try to educate that child at home, even if her level of education is not up to par?
This is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because
that's a tough one.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
just speaking from my own experience, so I teach women. It's been a very long time since I've taught elementary school children. And honestly, I don't even have the patience to teach children that age. That's why I teach women.
I understand.
And so I understand that it's different in different countries. So what I'll say to that is for what worked for me is I purchased curriculum.
Okay.
Now it may be hard to find curriculum, but if you can, depending on the age of your children, maybe you start with what you can do, what you can find. Perhaps you want to start with finding books that have math, that teach math or teach reading skills. And then based on the age of your children, you just purchase or find materials that relate to their age and where they need to start their learning. So I would say you yourself don't need to know everything, but you can learn with your children. You just need to have materials. You just need to have a resource that will help you become better at it. And that's the route I chose. I purchased curriculum and I've been learning along with the children, but we are learning together and we're going at our own pace, and they've come a long way because we had the materials.
Well, on that thought, Latonia, it's really a pleasure having you on the show. We come to the end of our show, and I hope at some time in the near future we may be able to continue with this conversation again. But until then, enjoy yourself and take good care. All the best.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you all for joining in, living in the 21st century. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.